Good morning. I'd like to call the Door County Board of Supervisors meeting to order on Tuesday, June 22nd at 9 a.m. Would you please join me in a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Okay, so we have 20 present, 1 vacant. Presentation of the agenda. A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Public comment. Let's start.
What, do you want to start in the room first?
Yeah, we'll do that first.
Okay. So we'll start in the room first. So if you'd like to come up to the podium, please, and give your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Apologies for the gear. My printer wasn't working this morning. Donald Fricks, 8305 Coeur d'Alene Road. Mr. Chair, please consider surrendering the chair under Robert's rules so that you may personally respond to the following questions. 1, did you bring today's published complaints of alleged unethical behavior to the honorable supervisor from the 4th, or proceed to have any sort of discussion about the complaint with this supervisor prior to your approving public inclusion of these complaints in today's information packet? 2, the decision to publicly post only a portion of the entirety of the available constituent complaints in today's packet only serves to inflate public or political divisiveness, rancor, rumor, and speculation about the complaint details that were provided to you and which you chose to exclude from today's information packet, i.e. presenting only half the facts. Is that appropriate or ethical behavior from a county supervisor? 3, seen through the lens of my prior volunteer work and training in domestic violence intervention and prevention, the decision to publish these complaints precisely fits several key behavioral warning signs attributed to perpetrators of intentional and systemic abuse of power by a person who holds some sort of authority over their intended victim. Was the decision to publish these complaints yours alone or done in consultation with other elected county officials or county employees? And if so, will you kindly inform me of their identities? Finally, I repeat, please surrender the chair and enlighten us during supervisor response as to your motivations for what appears arguably and unmistakably evident, a purposeful and decided instance of, at minimum, your individual effort constituting an explicit abuse of statutory powers and a decidedly inappropriate and unethical mishandling of these constituent complaints, presenting sufficient reason to again request that you tender your immediate resignation from the County Board of Supervisors. Thank you very much.
I will now go online to see if there's anyone who would like to speak. If you're online, there's 2 ways to participate. If you're online, you can raise your hand and then I will give you the floor and allow you to speak. Likewise, if you're on the phone, you can hit *6 and that'll raise your hand and we'll allow to speak. So the first one in the queue is Christine Reed. You have the floor in 3 minutes.
Christine Reed, 597 Sleepy Hollow Drive. 2 items. First, correspondence to the board. I'm requesting that there be an alternative method to review correspondence to the board to be included in the packets other than solely by David Leno, especially when correspondence to the board specifically ridicules David Lino or his conduct. If I have mentioned in the past that during an interview with Sammy Gibbons with the press, he lied about refusing to meet with Friends of the Forestville Dam and with me. And that has been excluded from the board. Anything that ridicules him, he has the choice not to include it. Over the past 3 years, I've written numerous, before there were any claims, before there was litigation, before he refused to meet with us, none of my correspondence has ever been included. But specifically, if something is criticizing David Lino, he should not be able to choose whether it's included or not. Second item, county administrator's monthly report, Mill Pond, no significant updates. With the dry weather, the water has remained low and drying and vegetation growth has taken place. There's been less than a half of an inch of rain during the entire month of June. March, April, May were below average rainfall. You're probably saving money on not cutting the grass because it is brown and burnt and dry. However, over the weekend, an ATV with 2 people drove down the boat launch onto the flowage, turned around to drive back up the boat launch and buried their ATV up to the axles. There were 2 people on the vehicle. The driver stepped off, sunk up to his knees in wet muck, was not able to walk, had to stumble back onto the vehicle. Some friends got a tow rope, pulled them out. In the process, the spinning wheels flung wet
30
muck
seconds.
into the air. It is not drying out, but there is massive flushing of sediment downstream. And why doesn't this update include the volume of sediment that has been flushed out of the Mill Pond? It's visible, it is undeniable, and well documented. So rather than drying out, as you claimed the plan was, it is flushing downstream. And it's well documented.
Thank you for the comments. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? For the second time, is there anyone else who'd like to speak? And for the final time, is there anyone who'd like to speak?
Okay, concludes our public comment. Any supervisor's response? None, okay. Approval of the minutes of the May 25th, 2021 regular meeting. We have a motion, a second. Any changes, additions, deletions? If not, by voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item 9, county administrator.
Sure. So the report is in your packet. This in terms of our monthly updates on projects. Just 2 other items just to mention, if there's anything else on that, is we do have a memo that was presented at administrative committee just on the position types and also the compensation form. And the committee thought that'd be good to share with the entire county board. So that's included in your packet. And then likewise, as a handout, there was a request to get a summary of the potential or what the impacts have been in relation to the COVID-19 in terms of the economic impact. And I reached out to Door County Economic Development Corporation, and there is a little article that they were able to put together for your review. So again, that is again part of the packet. And then this in terms of a update on our COVID situation. Obviously, there's a resolution in terms of removing the declaration of emergency coming up, but I know Sue is here, and Sue is going to just do a quick overview and a PowerPoint for us. So I'll bring that up as Sue's walking up.
Good morning, Sue. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. It may take me longer to walk up here than to tell you what's going on with COVID this morning. Thankfully, there isn't a whole lot. Could we go to
Just give me 1 second. I gotta share it.
there? Perfect.
1 second, Sue. I gotta figure out how to share it now.
So overall, COVID activity level is lower than it's been in months. Right now in Door County, we're at 12 active cases at last count, the lowest we've been for a long time. The total ever hospitalized since the beginning of the pandemic is at 97 and deaths are at 24. So here we have a bar graph of cases since the beginning of the pandemic, and this is just Door County. The graph like this for the state mirrors ours. And that peak, the highest peak, I believe, was 44 cases in one day. And I want you to know that in May, we had just, in the entire month, we had just 39 confirmed cases. To date for June, we have had 9. So I like how this looks. Next slide, please. Across the state, COVID activity level in most counties is at medium level. That's 55 counties, 10 counties are at high, and 7 counties are at low. We're at medium per the state parameters. And please bear in mind that activity level is not just number of cases. It also takes into consideration trajectory, whether we're going up or down. And ages across the state of cases, the most burden of disease remains in the younger age group, 0 to 18. In the last month, 6 of those 9 cases we have had here in Door County were between ages of 10 to 19. So, you know, we're mirroring that also. Testing positivity rate is low across the state, under 2%. It's 1.2 for the state and 1.5 for Door County. So good shape on that one. Variants, of course, remain of concern. And you'll remember that variants occur through mutations, which are changes in the genetic code of a virus. And this is a natural occurrence for virus to mutate over time, whether it be COVID or other viruses. So to some extent, this is expected. The predominant variant across Wisconsin is the alpha B117 variant, and that is known to have higher transmissibility and increased risk of severe disease. So one other variant that's emerging that to keep an eye on is the Delta variant, the B1617.2, and that's the variant that led to the spike in cases in India as well as recently in the UK. So there's not much of this variant being detected in the state currently. 38 cases were detected in the last 4 to 5 weeks across the state. There has been some detected in our region as well. Experts predict we can expect to see more of this, and this Delta variant is highly transmissible, more so than the B117 variant. So at present, indications are that vaccines are effective in preventing against disease, even with these variants. And one implication to note, though, is that variants can move fast through communities. So it poses an increased risk for those that are unvaccinated. And of course, variants could emerge that are not covered by vaccine. One last thing I want you to note is that we may be seeing some seasonal variability in COVID activity. And you'll recall that COVID-19 falls under the class of coronavirus. And coronavirus is an umbrella term for a number of viruses that cause mild respiratory diseases, such as the common cold. So we know that often these peak in the fall. So just something to be aware of and keep in the back of your mind. Next slide, please. Let's go to vaccinations. And we're in good shape with that also. Across the state, we've 4.5 million doses have been administered in the state, and we continue to have a strong supply of vaccine. And currently, Door County is second in the state for vaccine rates. We're right behind Dane County. Not that it's competition, but it's kind of nice. 49% of the total vaccination in the state have received first doses, and 45% in the state have received the entire series. Door County is above that, of course. 65% of the total population has received first doses, and 61% received the full series. In this slide, this is Door County residents, and you can see the bar graph of percentage by age group of who's received vaccine. And this is at least one dose. And so again, the lowest percentages are in the younger age groups, but we are making some progress on that. And national data also shows that the younger age groups have lower uptake. So this isn't unique to Door County or to the state. And we continue to work on this. Vaccine remains readily available from a number of providers in Door County. Our public health vaccine clinics continue in building at the ADRC. We'll do that through this month. And then because of declining numbers, we'll transition back here to our office. And we keep our vaccine information up to date on the county COVID-19 webpage. If anyone is interested in dates or times, we continue to accept appointments are nice, better for us to plan, but walk-ins are fine also. We can accommodate those folks. And we continue to go to Sister Bay Fire Station every 3 weeks. And we've gone to several farm markets. In fact, some of the staff is at the Jacksonport Farm Market this morning. So we continue to strategize how to increase vaccine uptake, particularly in those younger age groups. And we are doing public messaging, and we continue to meet with the schools on a regular basis. And that's all I had this morning.
Any questions, Sue?
Do kids under 18, do they have to have their
I'm sorry.
vaccine?
Yeah, the parents have to sign on the consent form, and then we ask that an adult, responsible adult accompany them. Doesn't have to be that parent, but legally we need the parent to sign. I suspect that in the fall, we will be again going to the schools to administer influenza vaccine as we've done in the past. And I would think we'd also be able to do COVID vaccine at that time with parent signatures ahead of time.
Alexis?
Thank you. I was just wondering if there's any more information about like new needs for booster shots. You're smiling, so maybe not. I don't know.
We would all like to know that.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody knows.
Okay.
Or I don't know, put it that way.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Todd?
Yeah, I've got a general question as it relates to operations. A few months ago, we, as a county board, approved a donation of a parcel of property south of Forestville to become part of the park system, I think is what it was, of 40 acres. And I understand that it may have been retracted now. Can we be updated? I've got a few constituents that are asking about what went on with that. Is there any information on where that sits?
You are correct. The individual that was going to donate the property ultimately then retracted the donation. So it's no longer, actually the property is then sold. So it's no longer being donated.
Okay.
Good job. Pending resolutions. Sorry. Resolution 2021-46, appointments to committees, commissions, and boards, the zoning board of adjustments. Somebody like to make a motion? Thank you. Ken?
Sure. This is for, obviously, as it states, the zoning board of adjustment. Mariah worked with getting the members nominated or suggested for that, and we made the appointments along with their description of their background. If there's any questions, myself or Mariah are available, but it's just our standard procedure for our appointments.
There's no questions by voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Resolution 2021-47, end of state of emergency declared March 16th, 2020, resolution 2020-19. Susan?
That we approve Resolution 2021-47, end state of emergency declaration.
Thank you. Okay. Need to explain?
Sure. So just an update, as you're aware, obviously we have the previous emergency order attached just for reference. But again, in our discussions, both with Joel, also Sue, but also Dan Kane, in terms of our declaration, in terms of the state of the emergency, if you recall, we originally enabled that one for being able to make certain types of decisions, but it also makes us qualified for both federal and state funds that would come through as far as our declaration of emergency. In talking with both Sue and again, Joe, and also with Dan Kane, there's nothing out there that they're aware of, though it would be an impact for us for withdrawing this. So from their standpoint, and it's kind of going, I guess, across the state right now with counties now and communities withdrawing these. And we do feel that at this point in time that there's no need to have this in essence on the books or active. So that's why it's before you today. We brought it to admin, we discussed it, we discussed the potential impacts, pros and cons. And for right now, we're recommending that we do end the declaration of emergency.
Questions? Dave?
Thank you. Then with a reminder, can somebody remind us what some of the items we implemented at that time that will be going away? One of them would be the virtual meeting aspect, right?
Correct. So the main items that will be going or that would be changed would be, one is our decision-making authority, although I can tell you that we've not exercised it much in the past 6 months in terms of anything that was special. We always tried to time it where we could bring it before a committee. So we did have some expenditures that we authorized before we got it through a committee, but that was earlier in the process. So that process would go away. The other item obviously would be our virtual meeting aspect, but we did discuss that at the admin committee, and there was a draft that was put together by our corporation counsel in terms of how we'd like to proceed with those virtual meetings and still participation. And that'll be brought back for the July meeting in terms of rule updates.
Anybody else? All right, if not by voice vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Resolution 2021-48. Request to move disability benefit specialist from 0.8 to full-time FTE at the ADRC Health and Human Services. Dave Engelbert.
Okay, I was going the wrong way. Something's out of sequence there. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2021-48. Request to move disability benefit specialist from 0.8 full-time to 0.10 at the ADRC Health and Human Services. It came to the Finance Committee yesterday, and the recommendation was to go along with this resolution. It's been difficult to fill the position. It might be an advantage if it's offered as a full-time basis. And we normally do not approve position changes during the year, but we found this to be an exception and a necessary effort. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
This currently an open position.
Yes. Anybody else? If not, we'll go to the voter board. Let's cast a vote of 20 yes. 1 vacant. Thank you. Resolution 2021-49, resolution supporting increased funding for adult protective services and long-term care placement locations within Wisconsin. Megan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to pass resolution number 2021-29 for increased funding for adult protective services and long-term care placement locations within Wisconsin. This is simply asking for additional funds from the state for adult protective services. Over the last 10 years, The referrals that we have received here in Door County for adult protective service cases has tripled. We did add a third full-time person about 5 or 6 years ago. And all 3 current positions are coming out of the county levy.
Thank you. Questions? If not, by voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Ordinances, report, amendment to the zoning map of Jacksonport. Dave Engelbert, I'm sorry, Enigal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to accept the report as presented.
Any questions?
Is here to answer any questions.
No questions, so the report by voice vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried, thank you. Ordinance 2021-09, amendment to the zoning map of Jacksonport. Dave Enigal.
I make a motion to approve the zoning map amendment as presented.
Any questions on that? Since it's an ordinance, we need to go to the voter board. One abstention and 1 vacant. Thank you. Ordinance 2021-10, amendment of chapter 12, Door County Code, Parks and Recreation. Dan Osted.
I'll make that motion. Is there,
There's a
Dirk is here
second.
to explain it. He's back there, he can come and explain it.
Sure. Good morning,
Morning. Would you like me up at the front or back here?
wherever you're most comfortable.
Okay, well, I'm here now, so I'll stand right here. What this is basically an update to chapter 12, which is the ordinances for the county parks. And there's a few things that used to refer to facilities and grounds committee. So it's been updated to facilities and parks, as well as updating acreages for parks for hunting land. Some of them hadn't been adjusted since property has been added to those parks. So it's being updated to more accurately reflect the acreage and the parks that hunting is allowed upon. Another thing that you'll see added here that wasn't clear right on the first page or page 33, the words beaches and stones. There's been questions from individuals sending emails and phone calls regarding removing stones for painting and projects like that on the beaches. So that's something that, even though the DNR does have rules against that, we felt that it was necessary to clarify that within our own ordinances as well. Just so individuals who are going and looking for that answer, if they've reviewed chapter 12, they can find it right in there.
Thank you. Susan?
No.
No. I'm sorry. Any questions, Burke? If not. One absent. I'm sorry, vacant. Thank you. Special reports, none. New business, are there any oral committee reports? Any committee minutes anybody would like to review? Do you have any vouchers, claims, and bills? The next regular county board meeting will be July 27th at 9 a.m. Reminder, the WCA annual conference is September 26th to the 28th in La Crosse. Do they need to contact you with anything?
Yeah, just a note, I'm going to register you in about mid-July. If you've changed your mind and you're not going, let me know. I only have 2 of you right now that said no. So the rest of you, I all will register unless you let me know no later than July 10th, please. You can just shoot an email if you've changed your mind. If you haven't, I'll move forward and register you.
Okay. Anything you want to add? Any announcements? Okay. The meeting per diem code is 622. The motion to adjourn would be in order.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no further business to be transacted, I'd like to make a motion. We adjourn after this grueling meeting.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.